So you didn't have too much to do with...
Well, they said we couldn't do it, but the Betoota Advocates managed to get a hold of the Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Barnaby Joyce. How are you today?
I thought you were the Wall Street Journal.
Tony Windsor, how are you?
Oh, very well, very well. Great to have you guys in town.
Once upon a time you dressed so fine, threw the bumps of dime in your prime. Then you people call, say beware doll, you're bound to fall, you thought they were all.
New England. Starting in the high granite range on the Queenslander border to the soft black soil complete with silo and auger, from the one-horse brothel towns of Glen Innes and Tennerfield to Scone and Merrywall, where the crops are high yield. But it's not all dark, and it's not all gloomy. There's more going on down there than tractors and booty. A retired farmer from Werris Creek, whose name some dare not speak, has thrown his hat back into the ring, adding to the mystique. And a former accountant from the sunburnt north, who's been the member henceforth. Whether he lives to reconfirm another term is all of our concern. If the nod goes to Barnaby Joyce, for certain there'll be some who rejoice. But if it goes to the old Tony Windsor, the Deputy Prime Minister will be put through the mincer.
What kind of a maniac is this? He's gonna kill your dogs if you don't send them back to California.
You know, maybe he's just doing his job.
You make no apologies for Pistol and Boo?
I'm going to give you a scoop. Johnny Depp's been in contact with us.
Really?
Yeah. He's coming back. No, but I think that look, Mr. Depp and Mrs. Heard broke the law, right? People who break the law get into trouble. When they get into trouble, you've got to have some serious words to them. Now, I make no excuses because for me, biosecurity is a big issue, and they stuffed up big time, didn't they?
Well, the major reason I'm standing is that I am concerned about the future. And I think there's a number of policy initiatives where we're going to have to take some control of our own future. Otherwise, we end up in this crazy sort of, well, I call them the Abbott crazies, the sort of Abbott crazies debate, where we're talking about stuff out of the past, not stuff for the future.
There's been a few comparisons being thrown around in this upcoming Battle of New England. A lot of people are kind of comparing you to Hillary Clinton and Tony Windsor to Bernie Sanders. What do you think of that?
Don't know. I think both of them are a bit old, aren't they? I don't. Hillary Clinton, no. Look, I'm sure she's a wonderful lady, but I don't know whether I've got a hell of a lot in common with her.
What's your favourite Slim Dusty song?
Just trying to think of the one where they put the horse out and pulled his tail.
Put him out there in the long yard. As Deputy Prime Minister, your role's changed a little bit?
Yeah, it's an awesome responsibility. Just stay humble, work hard, keep my head screwed on, and everything else, like any job you do. If you work hard and just keep your head screwed on, things pretty well work themselves out.
And obviously you need to be on deck a lot of the time, so have you given up the rum?
Not really. I've given up drinking a lot of it, put it that way. I'll have a quiet rum now rather than sit down with a square beer with a mate and see if we remember buying the second one.
There's a bit of talk that song might actually be about you and your new rise to politics. Should they leave him out there in the long yard? Are you too old for it, or what's going on? How do you feel about it?
Oh, I'm still very much a child in my mind. No, I don't think I'm too old for it, but people can make their own judgments. In fact, in terms of the policies that I'm running on, it's a bit odd actually that the older bloke stands for far more progressive and future-looking policies than the younger bloke who's looking back into last century.
Is there a political figure that you kind of identify yourself most with?
Look, there are people that I thought did a lot. Joe Bjelke-Petersen I always liked because he was a doer, made things happen, sealed the roads, built the dams, got the universities in, got the international airports going. So, like most things in life, you like people who are doers, and he got ridiculed too. He was another person. Everyone was always getting stuck into him mind you, he never got voted out, and whilst I was there, I never saw him lose an election.
You have been described as the outback Bernie Sanders. What would you say about that?
I think he might have more hair than me. Yeah, some people have said that. I'm about 10 years younger than Bernie Sanders. I admire him for some of the things he says. I think compared to Donald Trump, he's a saint.
Would you compare Barnaby to Donald Trump? Is that what's happening out here? We've got a Bernie versus Barnaby in the Battle of New England.
Some would. I don't know whether Barnaby's hairline would go with Donald's image.
Do you feel like a lot of people understand what it's like to be Deputy Prime Minister and also Minister of Agriculture and just all the responsibilities you hold?
Yeah, no, they don't. And I suppose a lot of people find it maybe mystifying that a person that they knew from their local district has that job. They expect you to be, they'd say, oh, that'd be a job held by a person who's vastly more qualified than you would be. But that's the nature of our politics. Our politics selects ordinary men and women and puts them in positions of office, which is a good thing.
And what about Barnaby? I mean, Barnaby's the other end of it. He's a Western Queensland man like myself, and the rest of us in Betoota and surrounds. St George man. He's a bit unrefined, maybe for the Liverpool Plains, particularly. I don't. As far as I know, he doesn't own a linen shirt, and he doesn't wear a Panama hat when he's on the farm, like a lot of the surrounding.
He's got that classic Western Queensland riding style, hasn't he?
Yeah. Well, it's definitely not side saddle.
Well, I think he'd be better off attempting side saddle, actually.
Now, speaking of bullshit, are you able to clarify the allegations of you being in a rum-fueled confrontation in the Lyceum Hotel in Longreach?
Look, I always think that you never hold anybody to anything they've done when they've had a few beers. A gentleman always keeps his confidences, and sometimes things happen. And what is, and you just move on. I reckon. There's nothing worse than someone, tittle-tatting, is there? Just park it on your hat and move on.
But you will admit politics is a hard game where you might, when confronted by a angry Longreach man, have to be a bit stern with it.
Well, sometimes. I've in my younger days, I remember trying to have what I thought was an intelligent conversation with someone outside a pub about a political issue, but they're really intelligent and best avoided.
So that'll be my main message. If you want to get with the future, go with the old bloke. If you want to stay in the past, well, vote for the young bloke.
Well, that's Deputy Prime Minister Barnaby Joyce from inside his Land Cruiser. We're going up to the Tablelands, and we'll get on to you later. Thank you, Mr. Windsor, and good luck.
Good luck to you guys. Outside first dog on the moon, I think you're one of the real parrots.
Just about a year ago, I set out